As the second wave of COVID-19 infections paralyzes India, one of its leading pharma firms is racing to find solutions. Zydus Cadila, also known as Cadila Healthcare, has a vaccine in late-stage trials. It hopes to apply for emergency authorization later this month. It also has a drug to treat moderate cases of COVID-19, which was granted emergency use authorization just last week. And joining us now is Shravil Patel. He's Managing Director of Zydus Group. Shravil, fantastic to have you on the show. Let's talk about that antiviral agent first. Virafin, I believe is the name. Just explain how it works.
So thank you, Julia, for having me on. We're very excited with the results of our clinical study that just got over and we got emergency use. So, you know, interferons are the naturally occurring proteins in the human body, and for any kind of virus infection, the first line of defense is for the body to produce interferons, which removes stops the virus replication and allows the immune system to remove the virus. I think this we could prove both in our in vitro and in vivo studies. So we did an in vitro study which showed that this is significantly more potent than any of the antivirals that are currently used for the treatment of COVID. So that was the first positive thing. This treatment has always been used for hepatitis B and C, which are other viruses. So we knew that this works against multiple viruses. Same is what we could prove when we did a patient study in India in moderate cases, where we showed that we reduced the virus replication and removal by showing RT-PCR negative in 8 days. We showed a 2-point improvement on the WHO ordinance scale of improvement, which is significant. We showed less oxygenation requirement for the patients who were taking Virafin, and also other symptoms were reduced, and that the number of days of hospitalization was reduced. All of that was done against standard of care. And in India, standard of care includes treatments which are steroids, maybe remdesivir and others. And we have cohort analysis against all of these with conjunction with Virafin and use independently. And all in all of the data, either we are equivocal or statistically significantly better. So that gives us the confidence that use of this in early treatment can help patients a lot. And the beauty of this product is that it's a single dose, which helps in terms of convenience of dosing, and it can be given by any medical practitioner.
Wow. Okay, so it stops the shedding of the virus. It helps the body's own immune system fight back and protect itself as well. Just give us a sense, if you can, how quickly, once somebody's been diagnosed with COVID, how quickly, what's the window that they get this vaccine? And then I guess the most important question is manufacturing. How quickly can you produce this and start helping people and saving lives as soon as possible?
So the trial that we had conducted was on moderate patients who were already in the hospital.
Right.
So I would assume that they were at least 3 to 5 days post-infection. And you know, it being a very strong antiviral agent, and we know that the virus is active for the first 8 to 10 days, the way of treatment, this would be that as soon as possible one should use this, because it is an antiviral agent, and using this later has lesser benefit versus using it earlier when the virus is not replicated enough and not destroyed the epithelial cells and created other problems. And the second part to your question related to the capacity, so you know, it's a biological product. We have been manufacturing this, but we have significantly put in capacities and investment to scale this up. We are going to be making it available immediately for 50,000 patients in this month. But in the following month onwards, we will believe we can reach up to 10 lakh patients or 1 million patients per month.
And you can achieve that in the next couple of months as you ramp up production?
Yeah, so our hope is by end of June, we can achieve a 1 million per month run rate.
Yeah, I mean, I compare it to the number of cases out there, and it feels like a drop in the ocean. But I guess if you're giving it to the most sick patients, if you can catch them early enough, then that's the important part. Let's talk about vaccines as well, because you obviously have, and are in stage 3 or phase 3 trials with your own vaccine candidate, and we're expecting results, fingers crossed, this month. What can you tell us, just even in these early stages, about the efficacy, even if it's only with regards phase 2?
So I think this has been a very gratifying project for all of us. You know, this is one vaccine where Zydus has developed this from scratch. So we have been doing all of the technology development all the way to scale up, all the way to now clinical trial. I'm also very happy to say that this is by far the largest clinical trial done in our country. where we have covered 28,000 volunteers for the administration of this vaccine. So it is by far one of the largest trials that we have done, and we have been good on recruitment. So in spite of vaccines being there, people have shown faith in terms of coming up for the clinical work on this. So I thank everybody for doing that. But more importantly, I think what we like about the vaccine is that the platform is an extremely safe platform, well established. We don't use any other viral vectors which can cause other kinds of infections. So this vaccine is very safe in terms of multiple dosing. It's stable at 25 degrees for at least 4 months. So, in a country like India, it's important. We have gone through multiple cycles and it's shown good data in terms of it not going to waste. Again, the beauty of the vaccine will be that it is a needle-free dosing. So it takes away a lot of fears for young people and people who have phobia related to needles and vaccination. So again, it helps on that. And we have a whole new technology to deliver the vaccine for that. So all of that has been good. Our phase 2 efficacy, phase 2, you don't really see efficacy, but you see immunogenicity. We showed comparable immunogenicity to most of the peers that are there in the approved vaccines that are there in the country. Efficacy is something that we can only get to see post phase 3, which we are confident of that in May we can achieve that event number. And as soon as we do that, we will file for our emergency use authorization.
And what about in terms of fighting variants that we're seeing in India? Are you also focused on the ability to adapt this if necessary to fight specific variants, or can you tell us anything about its, I know you're saying you can't give efficacy numbers, but the sense that it can fight the variants that we're already seeing?
So again, that's a very important question. So I think two important things. One is, I believe that in this clinical study, this will be the most truly represented clinical study because we have, variants of critical nature in India and multiple of them. And all our event data will be a subset of many of these events of infections happening. So I believe this will be one of the true reflections of how this vaccine can work against a plethora of variants that are there in the country. What is also good about this is that it definitely neutralizes many of the viruses that are there. But more importantly, this platform is very scalable and very changeable to the new variant. So in fact, against the British variant, the South African variant, the Brazilian, as well as the new Indian mutant variant, we have already finished 3 upgradations to the platform. We have already finished animal studies on them. So, we would be able to, not in a long time, but in a very short period of time, repurpose the vaccine with the new variants, whichever become dominant.
We keep our fingers crossed. Shravil, very quickly, another vitally important question, cost of both the antiviral and this vaccine. Can you give us just a comparison or a sense of how much this will cost? Because clearly there will be, I'm sure, people in India watching this and just wondering how they get access, whether they will be able to get access.
So yeah, that's a very pertinent question to our country. Access and affordability is supermount in terms of how one can get to use the medicines. So on our Virafin, we have committed and promised that to any of the standard of care, it will be substantially cheaper. It will be at least less than half or 1/5 of the current treatments that are there for patients who are taking remdesivir and hospitalization kind of efforts. So we believe that we will bring it at very affordable pricing. And as I said, again, it's a single dose. With respect to the vaccine, definitely our aim is that we will bring it at an affordable price. If you look at our track record in the last 1 year, whether it was hydroxychloroquine, we were the largest manufacturers and distributors of hydroxychloroquine. We brought it below the government price. It was remdesivir. We are today the lowest priced remdesivir in the country by a magnitude of 3-fold. If you look at dexamethasone, which is one of the steroids that is used, it is the cheapest steroidal